We've got a fun announcement. You may have heard already, but we are starting something called Kingdom Purpose Coaching. Rachel and I are really excited about this. We've been praying about this for quite a long time. We love helping people and encouraging people to become everything that God has for them to be. If you followed any of our journey, you know that we've been in business and we've been in ministry for many, many, many years. And we've kind of gone back and forth several times on both. And we felt like the Lord put this on our heart recently. So we want to talk for a minute on what is Kingdom Purpose Coaching, why are we doing it, and what's it going to look like?
Yeah. So Kingdom Purpose Coaching is our brand new online mentoring community that we are launching in 2023. And basically what this is a weekly setup for you to get mentoring, coaching, discipleship, and also learn new skills and increase your skill sets. One of my friends likes to call it skilling up. I don't know if that's, it's a great way to explain it. Where we're really going to just be bringing you all the things that we've been learning in our 20 plus years of both ministry and in work, right? Because we've done we've had several of our own businesses. Some of those businesses have gone to be with Jesus, and some of them are still...
Or Satan.
And some of them are still thriving. We've loved all of the businesses, but
true.
some are no longer with us. And so we want to just be able to share a lot of that with you guys to help save you, hopefully, some of the turmoil that we've been through. Yeah. And you get to learn from us and our experience, rather, to save yourself some heartache. But I thought today we would just kind of talk a little bit about the journey that we've been on, specifically related to being a spiritual person, being a Holy Spirit-filled, presence-driven disciple of Jesus in the workplace, which a lot of times, we've been pastors. We were senior pastors for 9 years. We've done other types of ministry as well. And in the church, we always talk about equipping things that have to do with your faith, right? So hearing God for other people, how to read your Bible, worship, all this kind of stuff, prayer. But we don't do a lot of equipping on how to be in the workplace as a passionate man or woman of God. And so I wanted to just kind of take a second, honestly, Grant, to hear from you about a little bit of the journey of your vocational journey, I guess would be a better way to say it, and sort of the process that you've gone through of learning how to merge the spiritual side of you and also the practical side of you so that you can be one person.
Yeah. So I think, for most believers, they feel like being a good follower of Jesus has a lot to do with showing up on Sundays and checking the box and being faithful to church and reading your Bible and doing those things. There's so much more to it. And I really believe, Rachel really believes, that we were put on the earth for a purpose. I think a lot of times the purpose can change throughout the years, over the years, but you're put on the earth for a purpose to do something significant with the Lord. And He has dreams. Like when you were created in the womb, there was dreams for your life, specific things that He was saying He was dreaming of you doing with Him. And we're firm believers that the Bible communicates you will be rewarded in heaven based on your faith in your following His way for you. And that way is different for every single person. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's not like the pastors are the ones who get the biggest rewards in heaven because they were the ones preaching the gospel on Sunday mornings. Rewards in heaven are very connected and maybe solely connected with, did you listen to the voice of God? Did you do what He was calling you to do? And again, that calling changes constantly, changes all the time, and it's very unique and specific for each and every single person. So there are people in heaven who are going to have amazing rewards for following God into things that from the outside perspective may look very, very ordinary or, like not super spiritual. And that's kind of the idea that we want to hash out as we talk about Kingdom Purpose Coaching is what are the things for you that God has put in you that He wants you to do that can help you along the way. So, for my own journey, I have always loved business. I've always loved ministry, and I've always kind of clashed between the two worlds. Even when I was a teenager, my dream when I was a junior in high school, my dream for my life, do you remember this?
Yes.
Was I loved bicycling at the time. I no longer love bicycling, in case you're wondering, but I loved bicycling at the time. So I wanted I wanted a successful bike shop, like that was earning $1 million or more per year. I wanted a house
Which I don't think exists anywhere.
in Colorado that had a mile-long driveway. It had two driveways. One was an off-road course. One was like a racetrack. And I wanted a super fast car, and I wanted an off-road car. And I also wanted to do youth ministry for free and not get paid for youth ministry. That was the dream of my life. So how did those two worlds collide? And it's kind of funny because now we're like, let's...
Well, we don't have a mile-long driveway in Colorado. No plans of that anytime soon.
Yeah, don't have a
But
fast
I
car.
remember,
Don't have an off-road car.
yeah, but you got into ministry, and that's kind of how we met in college. We were doing ministry together and youth ministry, and I remember when you decided that you felt like God had called you to start your own business as a home inspector, and this was back in, I think, like 2008. And I remember personally feeling so frustrated, like, but my life is in service to God. I'm a follower of Jesus. I'm a disciple. And so what does that mean for me? What does that mean for you? If we're not working at a church, like, how do we be spiritually significant? And that was such a wrestle. And I think that is a wrestle that a lot of people feel, is how do you feel like what you're doing on the earth is just as important than, as the person next to you who shows up and goes to a church building every day to work, and they get to spend hours in the Word preparing messages. It's two completely different paths. And so that was kind of how it began, like when you took steps towards that dream of doing ministry.
Because before that, it was like we did ministry and we did business as tent making because the ministry couldn't pay. And so that kind of made sense. It was like, oh, we're doing what Paul did, right? And then the home inspector one was the first real, like, this is a call from God to start a business and to spend my time doing business things that are not directly ministry related. And there was a wrestle, like there was a real rub of, are you sure, God? Like, that's kind of weird. Why are you doing that? Like, I could be spending my time preaching the gospel. I could be spending my time discipling people. I could be spending my time on all these ministry things, and I'm doing business, and business is not ministry. And that's where the big rub started. And so I wrestled a lot with that. And that's that. I've had a few kind of like iterations of that over the years, where there was a clear moment where I felt like, okay, now it's a time of ministry in the church, but now it's a time of ministry in business, and it's gone back and forth. And each time, ultimately, it comes, at the end of the day, I'll feel like the Lord says, look, even though it doesn't look like ministry doing this other work, it is equally as significant in the big picture of things.
Yeah.
And those times when he speaks those things, it's jarring. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how could cold calling clients be eternal? Like, that makes no sense. But the bigger picture of what he's able to do through those things is actually earning more reward in eternity, because it's following him more, right? So those are some of the types of things that we want to encourage you with as we dive deeper into the coaching stuff. Yeah,
because the reality is that what we have come to know now is that we are all following Jesus. For those of us that we're following Jesus, and so your life looks like devotion to Jesus, irregardless of what you're doing hour by hour. Like, if you're being obedient to the Lord and you're a stay-at-home parent, your life is devotion to Jesus by raising these children to be disciples of Jesus, or if it's building a business, or if it's, in healthcare or in education, whatever it is, the goal is to be obedient. I was actually reading this morning in Ephesians 2, I think it's verse 9 and 10, which you guys are probably familiar with this verse, where it says we're created to be his workmanship, right? That we are created as his masterpiece for a good thing. And in the Amplified translation, it actually says that God prepared ahead of time the path for you to walk. And I think that does mean salvation. And it also means the practical path that you are going to walk is this pathway of something that's good. And it might not be standing with a microphone leading people in prayer every hour of the day. And it might, for some, that's what they're called to do, right? We have examples of that in the Bible. People like Anna, the prophetess, who spent her life praying at the altar of God. And that was her purpose. That was God's assignment on her.
Right.
But we can't all do that, or else there isn't food to eat. There isn't money to pay the bills. There isn't. So it doesn't mean that you have a lesser than calling if you're called to put your hands to, work a business. It means that you are serving your purpose out as God pre-planned for you, as God prepared for you as well. So in the last five-ish to 7 years in our life, we just kind of said we can't live in two different worlds anymore. We're going to merge them all into one. And we're going to be on fire, faith-filled people who minister to Jesus, minister to one another, and also build businesses. And I think our life has felt more meaningful since doing that, on average, than it has the years before.
Yeah. So one of my favorite analogies that the Lord ever gave to me is we were planting a church. And so it was right at the very beginning of that, before we had planted the church, the Lord was giving us all this vision for what he wanted the church to be like. And one of the things he said is, look, following me, it's like this. He said, imagine there's a potter, and the potter has a little potter's wheel, and sometimes the potter wants to make a vase, and it's like this huge ornate vase. It's, let's say, 6 feet tall, it's 3 feet wide, it's huge. It takes months to put together, and it's very ornate, and it's going to go in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people at all these parties. You're going to put all these flowers inside of it. It's just like showstopper vase. And so when the potter finishes that his pleasure is on the vase. Other times the potter, he loves sushi, as do I. And so sometimes he just wants a simple little dish, very, very small dish to put his soy sauce in. And the Lord said to me, now, what happens if the soy sauce dish sees the vase and says, that's the goal of life, that's where the pleasure of the potter is. So I have to become that in order to have pleasure from the potter. Yeah. And so the little dish puts itself in the wrong place and tries to do what it's not created to do. The full pleasure of the potter is not on it. The full pleasure of the potter is upon the vessel when the vessel learns to do what it was intended to do from the one who created it. Mm-hmm. That's where the rewards lie. That's where the favor lies. That's where the joy of the Creator lies upon the vessel. And that's how it is for us. Like, it's so important to constantly seek God and to say, why am I here on the earth? What did you create me for? Why do I have these giftings and these passions that are different than other people? And the goal, again, is not to be the famous Christian doing, like, the only goal is for you to find, what did God create you to do? His passions for you. And that's where the pleasure and the favor and the rewards in eternity, that's where those things lie.
Yeah, because one of my favorite people to follow, Jennifer Allwood, she likes to say, she has a book that's called Fear is Not the Boss of You. It's such a good book. And in it, she talks about when we stand before Jesus, and in the Bible, it says, well done, my good and faithful servant. And she likes to make the analogy that when we stand before Jesus, he's not going to say, great idea, my good and faithful servant, or great, dream, right? Great vision. He's going to say, well done. Like, what did you actually do? Not what did you think about? What did you hope for? But what did you put your hands to? And we see Jesus echoing that in the parable of the talents as well, where I'm not even convinced. I think that the two guys with the bigger talents, the 3 and 5 talent people, I think they still would have ended up with something even if they lost their money, because they actually took action, because they stepped out and they had faith. And I think that that's one of the things that's really burning in our hearts, and why we're actually launching this coaching program is because we know how hard it is to step out and try to do it. We know how lonely it is. We know how disorienting it is. We know how aggravating it is when you're like, all I want to do is please God. And there's just this whole list of things that live in your mind and cause kind of just disappointment and torment and frustration. And that's literally why we're starting this coaching program. Absolutely. We are like, okay, what if we designed something that we needed 10 years ago when we were launching onto this journey that we've been on through merging entrepreneurship and church planting and ministry and all this stuff together? What did we need then, and how can we sort of provide that for people? So it's not going to be just us in this coaching program. We're going to have some of our friends that are amazing, high caliber people, both in the ministry realm and also in the business realm, coming in to share thoughts with you guys. We're going to have monthly times where we're just getting together to really minister to you, to really, my dream for this group is to have healing nights where it's like some of our friends that have these insane healing anointings. That's their big vase, right? That's their showstopper. Don't put soy sauce in them because it's not going to be functional. But when you get them in front of people who need healing, it's like, boom, you know, it happens. And so we want to get them and connect you. And for people that need physical healing or inner healing, for people that need prophetic encouragement, because the Lord knows we all do at times where we just need to hear God say, you're doing the right thing, you're on the right track, or hey, make these shifts. So we're going to have times like that. Basically, in this coaching group, it is a weekly piece of equipping for you. So some of it's pre-recorded, some of it's live. Every month, there'll be a live call with us where you can ask your questions and we will give you specific to you feedback. So you're going to get that. You're also going to be in a community with like-minded people who want to make a difference in this life, who want to pursue Jesus, who want to impact the world around them. That's just a couple of the things that we have coming down the pipe. You can read more about it on the website. Do you want to share anything else in the
I mean, I think our biggest heart is that we want to help kind of create runways for people to take off. So probably maybe if you're watching, you feel this like, oh, I want to do this, or one time I feel like the Lord gave me this dream and it was too much, it was too hard, it was too difficult. I wasn't sure how to do it. We want to lend you our guts. We want to lend you our belief that you can do it. You can take a step forward. You can follow the Lord in whatever crazy thing He's calling you to do, whatever you feel like that is. We want to help encourage you. We want to help prepare the way to launch you out and help you figure those things out. Maybe it's in business. Maybe it's in ministry. Maybe it's in some weird mix of the two. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever the Lord's put inside of you, we want to help water it, launch it out, encourage it, and be some sounding boards for you to get the guts to go for it.
Yeah. So I want to just talk for just a moment about sort of the role of coaching in our life, because this has been a new thing in the last couple of years for us, the concept of a coach. We've had incredible mentors and disciplers for as long as I can remember, since I was a teenager, and same for you. Yeah. People who just invested in us, helped us understand God, understand the word, all of that kind of stuff. But I distinctly remember standing in our kitchen a couple of years ago and looking at you, and our business was doing really well. Like, it was very full force, very full, fast pace. And I remember thinking, you are struggling. Like, there's like so much going on. He was forgetting like simple things he doesn't normally forget. And I'm like, what is going on? And I started realizing you are at the maximum capacity I think you've ever been at. And so I wanted to hear you just kind of share a little bit about how coaching specifically has helped, because one of the things that we realized is you do get to a point in life where what you know cannot take you any farther forward. Like, it's brought you to where you are now, and you need somebody else to help you learn something new so that you can keep going and not just tap out.
Yeah. So you've heard the phrase, I want to stand on the shoulders of giants. Yes, we all want to stand on the shoulders of giants. Coaching is the practical, the shoulders. Coaching is the shoulders, okay? So,
or the ladder up to the shoulders.
Yeah, so... Or maybe you've heard it said you are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. And that's extremely true. And so if you're staying with people that are in a less productive or less passionate season than you're in, you're probably going to stay in that area. But if you put yourself around people who are doing more than you, who are going after the Lord in new ways, in all these different ways than you,
or
you
doing
likely,
it longer, not always more, but
you likely will elevate or rise along with it. And that's what coaching is. So basically, when I started paying for coaching, I was a real estate agent. The sales was going well, and I decided to start a brokerage because I couldn't find one that I loved. I started a brokerage, and I quickly realized I have no clue what I'm doing, and basically like a panic, like, oh my gosh, I know nothing. What do I do? And so I said, okay, I want to hire somebody who knows what to do and can just literally tell me what to do. And I want to hire somebody who is who I hope to become. And I'm just going to literally copy everything that they tell me to do. And that's what I did. So my coaching program, it was $1,000 a month when I started, which was insane at the time. And I was like, who in their right mind can pay this kind of money? It was like $500 a phone call for an hour each phone. I mean, it was crazy. But I thought, okay, if I could just sell a couple more deals a year, it'll work out. I'm going to take the risk. And oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how incredibly valuable it's been the last 5 years of having smarter people than myself, people who have tackled the mountains, they've tackled the giants, they've opened new territories, to be like, oh yeah, I remember when I did that. I just did this. And they give you the shortcuts of exactly what to do. and allow you to have a runway to take off, like I talked about earlier. And that's what it's been for me. So yeah, we started coaching and the business just took off like crazy. Today it's way, 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 way bigger than I ever thought it would be. Way beyond what my dreams were. But because I'm around people who think bigger, we're still dreaming way bigger than anything that we have today. And it's because of coaching. It's because of generous people taking time out of their schedule to invest in me to help me dream bigger and to give me the practicals of how to go there. That's why it's so important.
Yes. I wholeheartedly believe we could not be where we are now without having people who had gone before us kind of giving us the roadmap, because we're saving so much time, right? We're saving so much time having to learn those hard lessons ourselves. And that's part of our heart in starting Kingdom Purpose Coaching, is that, you know, we can help you guys save that time as well. And some of that's spiritual. Some of that's just how do we understand God? I mean, I kind of took a vow of poverty when I graduated high school, and undoing that and learning how does God interact with finances. And Jesus talks about money pretty much more than anything in the Bible, and how money becomes like, it is the kindergarten of our faith. It's the way that we practice all these different faith principles, and unlearning what I had learned, you know, what I decided before, and learning what was new. All of that, what does it do? It saves you time learning it the hard way. It saves you time being stuck in the same patterns year after year after year. So, you know, for you, if you're looking at your life and you're going, I feel like I'm not making any progress, I'm still just I have the same dream I've had for 5 years, I haven't taken any action on it, then maybe you should consider, whether it's our program or a different coaching program, I think you should consider making a different change and maybe putting a little bit of investment into it. Like, I love the phrase that you pay attention to what you pay for. And so we do have a lot of free content. I have a podcast that's free on our my Instagram and on my TikTok. I'm constantly giving out free life things, understanding the Bible, let's look at the scripture together, whatever. And I'll always continue to have free resources. But there is something different when you come and you say, I'm putting some money here with the expectation that I'm going to grow, I'm going to learn, I'm going to receive. That really changes it. So let's talk about the practicals for a second. So like we said, Kingdom Purpose Coaching, it is a weekly online mentoring community. We're going to be using an online program. There will be a private Facebook group, but the group is not hosted on Facebook. It's hosted on a different site. And so there will be, live trainings, some pre-recorded trainings, Q&As, polls, opportunities to post and share your own opinions, all of that kind of stuff. And we'll also be sharing our resources, like what are we learning in real time. You're going to get that as well. So like, he's reading tons of books in the coaching program he's been in this year. And some of those books have been life transformative for us. And you're going to find out what those books are. We'll be funneling all that information to you. And so what we're doing is we're setting it up as a monthly recurring payment, and it is $49 a month. So way cheaper than $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
$49 a month is what it's going to be. And if you have a spouse that is interested in participating, then we're offering a $16 spouse fee, basically. So I think it's $65 a month, and the two of you can have your own separate account. That's important to us because as you're interacting on the platform, we want to make sure we know who it is we're interacting with. We've been in groups before where there's people who are like sharing an account, and you never really know, is it the husband this time? Is it the wife? And then you want to make a joke and then it just gets awkward. And so we are like, for a small fee, you can create your own user profile and the two of you can glean the content together and have your own individual relationship to it without having to buy two memberships. So the way that this works is we're opening the coaching program just 3 times a year. So it's not going to be something that's open all of the time. You can look on the website for the information of when this next round is going to be open. But basically, we give you a 2-week window to say yes, and then it's in the group, and we close the group to new people for a couple of months for a number of reasons. But if you do, you are welcome to cancel at any time. But if you do cancel and you want to rejoin, you do have to wait until the next time that the group opens up. Which is, just a way for us to help regulate what's happening and keep, hopefully building community with you and keeping that whole, there's new people coming in every single week that are trying to learn the whole process. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing that. So that being said, we would love for you guys to consider jumping into Kingdom Purpose Coaching with us. This is a different kind of coaching program. It doesn't have an end, meaning it's not like this is a 6-week, 8-week, 9-week type course. This is a come journey with us as long as you feel like you need to, as long as you feel like the Lord's, calling us to walk this together. And when you feel like you've gotten everything that you need from us, then stay and be an encouragement to others or go. It's really up to you. So that's kind of the framework of it.
Yeah. We're really excited about it. I think it'll be really encouraging for a lot of people. We're going to talk about a ton of different topics, sometimes extremely practical, like how do I start a business? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. We've started a lot of businesses. Like you said, some took off and some did not. We'll teach you everything we can think of on the business front.
We'll tell you why the ones didn't take off that didn't take off.
And then on the other side of things, it's like, man, I'm really struggling hearing the voice of God. You've got to hear the voice of God. So what do you do when you have those roadblocks in hearing the voice of God? And kind of everything in between those two worlds, we're going to be sharing with you guys, hopefully encouraging with you guys, and hopefully helping you launch off and really feel like you are doing what you're put on the earth to do in the season that you're in, and finding the full favor and the pleasure and the joy of every day waking up feeling like me and God, we are doing something together that is awesome. Yeah. That's what we want for you.
So let me just end by saying this. Our heart for you is that you would thrive in every season of your life. Whether things are going well or not going well, there is an opportunity to experience Jesus in that. And we've had positive business moments where it just feels like you're on top of the world. And we've had some business moments where it feels like you just want to quit and move to Mongolia and never see anybody again. And so one of the things that I want you to walk away with today and know our heart is that we really believe in you and that you actually can fulfill the things that God has put on your heart to do. Ephesians 2:10 is not lying. You have been created for something really good. You are God's masterpiece. Mm-hmm. You yourself are a work of art, and he has this path for you that is truly going to be blessed with his presence, right? I love thinking about the blessing of God, but to me, it's very rarely thought about in monetary terms. When I think about the blessing of God, I'm thinking about his peace and his joy and his kindness and his love and his mercy and walking in forgiveness and knowing that you're accepted and understanding your identity as a child of God. That is the blessing of God. And you are destined by God to walk in that. He wants you to experience his fullness in every single season of your life. Mm-hmm. So regardless of what this last year has been for you, I'm encouraging you to shake off the dust as we're about to go into a new year here in the calendar. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm shaking off the dust of this past year, the things that were disappointing, the things that were frustrating. Mm-hmm. And I'm moving into the new year with a fresh expectation that God is not only going to meet me there, but he's going to blow me away. Yeah. And that's my prayer for you as well.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Check out the website, and we hope to see you in the group.